You know, in this instance with this icing, this part is not the recipe's fault. I think this part is definitely my fault. Hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we are making the 35th Sunday dinner. On our menu today we have ham sandwiches, grated cheese sandwiches, fruit salad, pineapple mayonnaise, spiced layer cake, peanut cookies, stuffed dates, olives, salted nuts. Homemade candy is on the list, but there is no recipe here, so we won't be making that. Sorry to disappoint you. And this week again, we have two beverage choices. So we'll have coffee and we'll also be making some cold fruit punch. If this is your first time joining us, I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Ashley. I'm a registered dietitian and I also have an antique business. Those two things, big loves of my life, I'm combining vintage and food and bringing you this. We've already done a few other recipes and dinner menus, so if you like what you're seeing now, go ahead and look back and check those out. Now, these menus are quite extensive, so normally what we would do is take one day, which would be the Saturday, and we would do all the prep work, do some of the recipes ahead of time to save us some time on the actual dinner day. Instead, this time, the recipes seem fairly simple and I have some behind the scenes help today. So we're gonna try and get all of it done in one day. We'll see how it goes. So go ahead, join me in the kitchen and we'll get started. A 1, a 2, and a 3. Like the cake that we made last week or the week before, this cake is also supposed to be done in layers. It's asking for 4 layers. Again, I have this springform pan that I was using before because I'm not really sure where I packed away. Oh boy, I'm gonna need to tighten that up a little bit. I'm not sure where I packed away all my other cake pans, so I'm gonna need to do some digging for that. In the meantime, I'm going to divide this batter into 4, see if we have enough for 4 layers. If not, this cake might end up being a 2 or 3 layer cake. So breaking this batter up into quarters, this is about 1/4 of the batter. Clearly not enough. So I think what I'm going to do is make this just a 2 layer cake and hope that it turns out the way it's supposed to. We're gonna see. Well, this doesn't seem too promising here. This looks terrible. Maybe I cooked the sugar too long. This is a thick, stiff icing. It smells kind of okay, but it does not look good. This first layer looks pretty good, but judging by the thickness of it, there's definitely no way we could have done 4 layers unless it was a cake that would not have served 6 people. We're going to put this together as it says with the icing and the filling. Oh boy. Going to just very gently spread this on top. Put a little bit of the filling as well. Looks like a spider web on here. Found maybe a more efficient way to spread this. You know, in this instance with this icing, this part is not the recipe's fault. I think this part is definitely my fault. I accidentally used all of the peanuts in the roasted salted nuts that we did earlier. So instead of peanut cookies, we're gonna go with walnut cookies. The recipe says to drop it onto greased paper. I assume they don't mean to just grease some paper and stick it in the oven. My assumption is they meant on a cookie sheet or something, some sort of a baking sheet. I have parchment paper on this baking sheet. I think that's probably the same thing. Let's see what happens. I definitely think the paper worked just fine. It didn't need to be greased. The cookies have been cooling for like 4 minutes or something, so you know we can't let a cookie cool before we try it. You know I can't resist a warm nut cookie out of the oven. This is really good. It's light and fluffy, but not quite down in the middle. So it's kind of nutty and gooey in the middle a little bit. Ah, this is killer. Subbing the walnuts in instead of those peanuts did not hurt this cookie at all. I'm gonna put a little bit of the Thousand Island dressing in here as well. If you watched last week's video, we made the Thousand Island dressing in that video. So if you'd like to see how that is done, I will link it somewhere here on the screen and you can go ahead and check that out. The ham sandwich, I can understand being served cold. The grated cheese sandwich is throwing me off here. I really, until I just read the recipe or actually had my helper read this recipe out loud to me, which is good because I apparently just let my brain read whatever it thought it should. I thought I was grilling these sandwiches. I am not. I am just eating a cold grated cheese sandwich. Okay, we did it. We got everything done in one day. It took way longer than I expected, but we are here. And for as long as it took, it looks like it's a very small amount of food. Let's get ourselves some of this fruit punch poured. We'll drink this with our sandwiches. And we have our ham and our grated cheese sandwiches there. I just did half and half. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a choice. You get one or the other. If you get two sandwiches or you get half and half. This is what we're doing here. This menu, after working with it, it is very fruity and very nutty. The bread that I use for these sandwiches, I did not make the nut bread. There was already plenty of other stuff to do. And I just decided to go with some Ezekiel bread instead. So let's start with the ham sandwich. It's okay. I'm not a fan, again, as you know, of mayo, but it's not terrible. Maybe if I mix this up with some Miracle Whip, I would like it a little bit better, but if you like it, if you like mayo and you like salty stuff, you would probably enjoy this. Let's try it with a little sip of this fruit punch. That fruit punch goes really well. It's very sweet. So the sweet mixed with that salty ham, it's a really nice combination. All right. Grated cheese sandwich with mayonnaise. I don't really love this. I didn't think I was going to. It's a lot to chew and swallow, and it's not dry, but it's not dry. It's just okay. I would never, unless it was offered to me by somebody else, I would never eat just a room temperature or cold grated cheese sandwich again. On to something that really seems very kind of classic 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, I don't know. The kind of strange fruit salad concoctions on lettuce with mayonnaise mixed with them. Not high hopes for this either, but let's see. We'll get a little orange piece in there, a little pineapple in there. Come on, pineapple. All right. It kind of smells like lemon curd, actually. That is not bad. It definitely doesn't taste like mayonnaise to me. It tastes like maybe a dressing for a fruit salad that's a little bit heavier than I would like, but I don't know. Overall, this is pretty tasty. I wonder if we would have used that pineapple mayonnaise to mix with that ham salad, or if we would have moistened the bread with this pineapple mayonnaise instead of butter. I bet that would have been really good. Now it says, it calls for the spice layer cake next, before the dates, the nuts, and the olives. This menu seems very out of order to me. It would strike me that the dates, the nuts, and the olives would be maybe something of an hors d'oeuvre that you would have set out for your guests and others to eat while they're waiting for the meal to come out. I am going to go a little out of order and try these now because I think I would like the cake to be the last thing that I tasted. So, I mean, I know what an olive tastes like. This is a very interesting mix. You know, I said already of the fruity and the nutty, but it's a very kind of extreme sweet and salty, the whole play throughout this menu. Like you have the olives and these salted nuts, and the nuts, you know, they're a little bit sweet. With the salt there, they're salty also. The olives very salty, and then you have the dates that are sweet on their own. Then you've stuffed them with walnuts and rolled them in sugar to make them even sweeter. So that's kind of interesting. Nuts aren't bad. Let's try one of these dates. The date is pretty tasty. I think it would have been sweet enough on its own without that sugar, like I said before. It would have been very tasty just leaving it unrolled on its own. It's almost a little too sweet for me with it being rolled in that sugar. I think it kind of takes away from the date a little bit, but overall it's fine. I'm a little bit nervous to see whether I'm able to cut through this because the icing definitely cooked that to the hard crack instead of the thread stage. But the cake looks phenomenal it looked phenomenal when it came out. The filling looked good. I'm hoping that it still tastes really great. It might just look really awful coming out. Let's see. not too much resistance. All right. I mean, it's definitely doesn't feel like I'm cutting through icing, but it hasn't completely stopped me. This piece is gonna be huge. Okay, here is our piece. You can't really distinguish much between the layers. Let's see how it turned out. I'm gonna try just the cake first. That cake is really good. It is super moist. It has a nice level of spice in there. The crumb on it is great. That's awesome. All right, let's see if I can get, well, this is trying to get some icing. That's not gonna work. Let's cut the icing with a knife. Okay. All right, we have a piece of the icing. Let's get a little bit of the filling and some of the cake there. Okay. The flavor is great. The icing tastes amazing. It's got this kind of burnt sugar caramelized flavor to it, which makes sense because I cooked it way too long and probably burnt it. It mixes well with that filling, but if you have a loose tooth or a filling that is loose, or you have braces. I just got braces taken off a couple months ago, and if I had still had them right now, there's no way I could have eaten this cake. But if you have excellent dental health and you like this kind of thing, this would be fabulous. If you don't mind chewing through your cake for a while, you don't mind giving your jaw a workout, this cake is for you. Thank you so much for joining me for another Sunday dinner. I think this one was a pretty big success for the most part. We didn't screw too many things up. If you enjoyed what you saw here, please consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel so that you can continue to see more Sunday dinners to come. And join us next week where we make another recipe full of mayonnaise as well as a chicken pot pie. Look at this. The spoon is stuck inside of this bowl. I think I might have cooked the icing too long.